Thanks for joining me in Mrs. Lavoie's classroom. Just a reminder, the ABA tips and tricks I share here are for educational use only and are not a replacement for professional behavioral services. Always consult with your own BCBA or healthcare provider for personalized advice. Let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mrs. Lavoie's classroom. I'm Mrs. Lavoie, and I'm so glad you're here today because we are going to be tackling a topic that every teacher and parent can relate to: setting limits. Setting limits is crucial for fostering independence, teaching responsibility, and creating a predictable environment for our children. We are going to dive into 4 key areas when it comes to setting limits, all from an ABA perspective that focuses on clear communication and consistent follow-through.
My first tip is avoid asking yes or no questions when you're setting a limit. Think about it. If you ask, "Do you want to clean up your toys now?" What's the most likely answer from a child who'd rather keep playing? No. And then you're stuck.
Instead, offer choices or state the expectation directly. For example, instead of, "Do you want to put your shoes on?" try, "It's time to put your shoes on. Do you want to wear your blue shoes or red shoes?" This gives them a sense of control within the limit you've set. Another example: "First we clean up blocks and then we can have a snack." You're clearly stating the expectation and the positive reinforcement that follows.
Next up, make your limits reasonable. This means they should be appropriate for the child's age, developmental level, and current circumstances. Expecting a 2-year-old to sit quietly through a 2-hour lecture is just not reasonable.
A reasonable limit might be you can have 5 minutes of playtime, then it's time for dinner. Or you can choose one toy to bring in the car, but not in the store. We want to set limits that children can actually understand and meet, not ones that are designed for them to fail.
This brings me to my third point, and that's make limits obtainable. This goes hand in hand with being reasonable. An obtainable limit is one that the child has the skills and the resources to achieve.
If you set a limit like you must finish all your work before you can watch TV, but your child is struggling with a particular subject and doesn't have the necessary support, that limit might not be obtainable without significant frustration. Instead, break it down. Say something like, "Let's work on these 5 math problems together, and then we can have some screen time." You're setting a limit, but you're providing the scaffolding needed for them to reach it.
And finally, and this is probably the most critical aspect, follow through. Consistency is key in ABA. If you set a limit, you must follow through with the consequence, whether that's positive or negative. If you say, "If you don't clean up your toys, you won't be able to play with them tomorrow," and then you let them play with them anyways, you've taught your child that your limits aren't really limits at all.
Let's imagine you've said after 2 stories it's bedtime. If your child asks for a third, calmly remind them, "We said 2 stories and now it's time for bed." And then gently but firmly guide them to bed. This doesn't mean being harsh. It means being consistent and predictable. Alternatively, if you set a limit with a positive consequence, like when you finish putting your books on the shelf, we can go to the park, make sure you immediately go to the park once the books are on the shelf. This reinforces the desired behavior and teaches them that following limits leads to positive outcomes.
So, let's quickly recap our 4 key takeaways for setting effective limits. 1. Avoid yes or no questions. Offer choices or direct statements. 2. Make limits reasonable, appropriate for both age and development. 3. Make limits obtainable. Ensure the child has the skill and support to meet them. And finally, follow through. Be consistent with consequences, whether they're positive or negative.
Setting limits isn't about control. It's about teaching valuable life skills, promoting independence, and creating a secure environment where children know what to expect. It takes practice, patience, and consistency, but the rewards are immeasurable. Thanks for watching. For more ABA insights, make sure to subscribe and follow. See you next time.